So, in the wake of the Dark Universe announcements, the Epic Universe announcement, and the talk of how Universal was reimagining the classic monsters, I made a very gloating video about how I was right that they were going to reimagine them. They were going to make them edgier and cooler, whatever, and not what they are, not the monsters that actual fans of the Universal monsters know and love. And do that in the name of having like these like big exciting thrill rides rather than a nice variety of slower dark rides and things like that. And a comment came up because I do read the comments. I love the comments. I love engaging with people. Leave comments. Make more comments. Tell me I'm full of crap. Like, please, whatever. I like comments. I like the engagement. They made the comment of like, don't the monsters need to change though? Don't they need to be updated to reach new audiences and new generations and people who don't love and don't care about these old movies and these old monsters? And no, they don't. Because what are you actually talking about when you say that they need to change to appeal to new audiences? Um, you're saying that what they are isn't good enough. What they are isn't appealing to a broader range of people. Therefore, we need to change what they are so they can appeal to this broader range of people. But I like what they are. I like what the monsters are. I like what the monsters represent. Go watch my video on why the Universal monsters are so great. And watch a subsequent video I've done one on the Mummy and Dracula and the Wolfman and the Creature of the Black Lagoon. I'm going to do more, of course. I like them the way they are. That's what I'm the fan of. That's what everyone who is a fan of these monsters is a fan of. Like, yeah, there's a crossover with the more broad horror fans who are into just everything spooky and scary, and they might want bloodier and freakier classic monsters. The Halloween Horror Nights edgy version of them. And you might have your casual, Halloween Horror Nights fans, whatever, who want the blood and gore and guts. They don't really care about the monsters at all. They just want whatever society says is the thing that's supposed to thrill and titillate them at any given moment. Why would I want the monsters to change to appeal to those kind of people? Why would I want the monsters to turn into something I don't like in order to appeal to people I don't like so that they can like something that they don't like? If they don't like the monsters, that's fine. They don't have to. I don't care. You can like whatever you want to like. Leave the thing I like alone, though. You don't need to change it to appeal to people who don't like it. Turn it into something they like, because in that process, it's going to be something I don't like anymore. So what's the point? Who's it supposed to appeal to? Right? Why do you care about getting in a broader audience that don't care about the monsters at all? Right? And if they don't care about the monsters, then what is the difference? If they don't care about the monsters, then why not make the Dark Universe authentic to the classic monsters? Right? Why not make it Bela Lugosi Dracula and Boris Karloff Frankenstein and Lon Chaney Wolfman? Because it doesn't matter either way. Because if they don't really care that much about the monsters, then they'll come and ride the ride with the classic monsters, the real ones, just as well as they will of the fake monsters, right? It doesn't make any difference to them, so why change it? Who's it supposed to appeal to? They'll ride either one just as well, so whatever. Now, there's a lot you can do with the monsters that is original, right? And I think it was last year before that, whatever. Universal had like this Halloween store. They did the monster tribute store in a tiki hula sort of style. Get the monsters in aloha shirts and tiki mugs and surfing and that sort of thing, playing up that 50s vibe, and that is fine. Like, that is in keeping with the tone of the monsters, the mid-century monster kitsch. That is appealing to people who like that kind of thing, who already like the monsters. I mean, obviously, I like the monsters, I like the tiki stuff. That's in the same vibe, right? You can go gothic horror. You can go mid-century kitsch. That's in the bailiwick of the monsters. That's in the coffin. It's in the satchel. That's in the atmosphere that the monster has already occupied. And you can play with it, and you can be original in that respect. But the further you get away from the core, the less true you are to the monsters, right? So you start getting far out there, and I mean, I've heard comments like this Dracula that is that they debuted with this Dark Universe thing. He looks more like the current version of Count Strahd von Zarovich in Dungeons and Dragons. Now, Count Strahd began in the Ravenloft uh, module for Dungeons and Dragons. As a very transparent, it's Dracula. Count Strahd is Dracula. And carried that way through the whole Ravenloft when it spun off into its own sort of quasi-own game setting and that sort of thing. But now, with the current Dungeons and Dragons, they've remodeled it so Strahd looks different from Dracula. The whole point is that he doesn't look like Dracula anymore. He's not copyright infringing Dracula. So now they've made their Dracula look more like Count Strahd, which is like, Count Strahd was devised to not look like Dracula. That's why they made him look the way he does now. So now you're making Dracula look like Strahd instead of making Strahd look like Dracula. What's the point? Or we've been debating about in the fan community, who is this female character in there? It's probably a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein, because of course, the Universal monsters are old and they need to be fixed, right? We need strong female characters in there. First of all, Dracula's daughter, Catherine Caldwell. There's a whole bunch of interesting female characters in there that aren't just victims. But like, who is that supposed to appeal to? There's no fan of the classic monsters who feel like they need to be fixed at all. People who think they need to be fixed aren't really fans of them, right? They might sort of want to be fans, but they're like, oh, this thing doesn't jive with my politics or my views on society or whatever, so I can't like it. Then go away. If you can't like the thing as it is, and you can admit where there's like some faults, right? Like, oh, that it's an old movie, it's an 80-year-old movie, that's a little bit racist, whatever. Like, okay, you can accept that. But to say like, oh, I can't like it unless it gets fixed by having a strong female character, strong female Dr. Frankenstein. What's the point? Why? Why do we even want to appeal to those people? They don't like the thing, and we don't need them around. Because here's what's going to happen, because we've seen this happen in fandom after fandom after fandom, which is it changes to appeal to a new group of people, the new audience, the modern audience. They have to change the thing so that the core fans who have loved it and carried it on forever, it no longer appeals to them. And furthermore, to get that new audience, they're even told, the old fans are told, you suck, you're a racist, you're a misogynist because you like the way it used to be. So get out and leave it for the new audience, the modern audience, who are the right people that we want, who like this thing, and that we've changed to suit their interests. And then they don't even see it anyways, right? These movies bomb. They don't go anywhere. They don't buy the merchandise. The movies aren't successful. It's not a winning strategy. So what's the point? Again, who wants that in their fandom? Who would want the Universal Monster fandom to become filled with a whole bunch of new modern audience people who think the old movies suck and are terrible and racist and old and lame? And now we're so glad they've changed this new thing, and get out of here. Get out of the fandom. You don't belong here anymore. Who wants that? Who would possibly want that? That's the modern audience we're trying to appeal to, right? That's what we got to change it to, so we get those people in so they can harass us and kick us out. Not really, I'm not a big fan of that strategy, personally. And finally, maybe not finally, but furthermore, everybody knows what Dracula looks like. Dracula is Bela Lugosi, or a close approximation of Bela Lugosi, in the dinner suit. Everyone knows what Frankenstein looks like. Frankenstein monster. Green, square head, looks like Boris Karloff. The Wolfman, the Mummy. Everyone knows the classic Universal version of those characters, right? Even non-Universal stuff uses that same iconography. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, I said in my 2 videos ago now on Epic Universe, they are the closest thing Universal has to Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. They are the closest thing Universal has to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. They are instantly recognizable icons across the planet. Everyone knows what they look like. So who are you changing it for? What's the point of changing Dracula to not look like Dracula? The Dracula everyone knows is Dracula. Instantly, everyone recognizes that is Dracula. Why would you change that? What is the point of changing that? Who's that supposed to appeal to? Who's the audience for that? It's not the classic fans. And the casuals either don't care, don't know either way, or it'll be like, who's that supposed to be? Oh, that's Dracula. Didn't you see? It's the reimagined version of Dracula. Like, what's the point? Casuals recognize Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman for who they are, and fans love them for who they are. So who is this appealing to? What is this new audience that that we need to reach out to to expand the fandom of the monsters? Why do we want the fandom expanded? Oh, so you can get new things. Because they'll stop making new things if there's no new fans. So, because if you have to change it to get the new fans, and change it so that the classic fans don't like it anymore, then it's no advantage to me. What's the advantage to me to go to Walmart and see a row of toys of monsters that I don't know and don't recognize and don't like, that aren't the classic monsters that I love? They'll stop making movies. I hope so. Like, please stop making new movies. Stop making the Tom Cruise Mummy. Stop making Dracula Untold. Stop making Van Helsing. Just stop doing it, please. I want you to stop doing that. So who is this new audience that we're trying to reach? What is the point? What is the purpose of we have to change to reach a new audience? Why? Who are we reaching here? A new audience of people who didn't like the thing, and now they want it changed so it appeals to them. It doesn't appeal to the old fans anymore. No advantage there. Casual fans don't care either way, and they already recognize who Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman are, because they know that iconography, because it is some of the most iconic pop culture iconography in the world today. Even people who've never seen the movies recognize who these things are. People who've never seen King Kong recognize King Kong. It's the giant gorilla holding a woman. So who is it changing to appeal to? What's the point of it? Why do we need to change it? If we change it, then it's no advantage to me, because I'm not going to go ride the ride. I'm not going to go buy the merchandise. It's still going to be for me the old movies, the toys based on the old movies, the mid-century monster kitsch. And if no new stuff is being made, so what? Like, it doesn't. I still have the old movies. I still have the old stuff. And you could say that argument too, right? Well, what does it matter to you then? Why not change it? Because now, you still have your old movies. The old movies haven't gone away. You can still have your toys. You can still have that old stuff. But now we have the new stuff for the new people. Okay, but that doesn't matter to me then anymore, because it's not the same thing I'm into. So it might as well be dead, because effectively it is, right? I've been through this before as well. I mean, I talked about past fandoms, right? Going old school, antiquated. One of my fandoms was The Lost World, the original Lost World, the original novel, the 1912 novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and the 1925 silent film version. In fact, weirdly enough, I'm actually one of the world experts on the 1925 version of The Lost World. I haven't done a video about it yet, because I've moved on to other things, but someday I will. I love The Lost World, the classic Lost World, the original novel and the original silent film. In the 90s, there was that TV show that came out, and they had to change it radically from what the book and the silent film were, which is okay, whatever, doesn't interest me. But then any of the small venues that Lost World fans had, all 5 of us, to get together and talk about it, well, now it's everyone talking about the TV show. And nobody was still nobody was talking about the thing that I liked. So what was the difference? Who cares? It wasn't the thing that I liked. I was also, around the same time, one of the early adopters of steampunk. This was before 19 or sorry, before 2007. Before 2007, steampunk was just a bunch of nerds online who liked Victorian science fiction. We were into Victorian science fiction, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, the old Disney movies, that sort of thing. And just talking among ourselves, sharing our love for this thing. And then around 2007, for various reasons I'm not going to bother getting into, um, it changed. I've got this influx of these new people who were more into the cosplay, more into the punk politics, the DIY, the maker culture, that sort of stuff, the dressing up in costumes, and that's where steampunk exploded into the mainstream. When it became punk, it exploded into the mainstream. People in the costumes with the goggles and the unnecessary cogs everywhere, and they literally chased us out. They took over the spaces and appropriated the spaces and kicked and like chased out everyone, harassed, banned, all sorts of horrible stuff went on, like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. And eventually I like left the culture because the culture wasn't a thing that I liked anymore. It wasn't people talking about these old Victorian science fiction stories. It was people dressed up in costume who thought you were inferior if you didn't dress up in costume too and didn't share their political views. So it ceased to be the thing that I loved. So I've been through this. Why would I want to see it again? Why would I want to see it with Universal Monsters? Right? For it to stop being the thing that I love so it can appeal to people who don't like it and don't like me, don't like the classic fans, don't like the things we like, to take over the spaces, to take over the theme park, and turn into something that doesn't appeal to us, that we don't like, don't want. We want the classic monsters. We don't want the edgy Halloween Horror Nights, Count Strahd von Zarovich, updated and refreshed and reimagined version of the monsters. Like, to me, that's a null. It doesn't make any difference because now I'm not going to go spend the money to go to Epic Universe. I'm not going to spend the money to go to Florida to go ride rides of versions of monsters that I don't know and I don't love, that aren't the thing that I like. So, no, I don't think they need to be reimagined. I don't think they need to appeal to new audiences. New audiences, what we can do is we can share the monsters. We can share the movies, we can share the art, we can share the toys, we can share it with our kids, we can share it with our friends, and the people who love it will join in with the thing that we love. And the people who don't love it, who don't like the thing, they can go and they can do their own thing. That's okay. They don't have to like it. And the people who do like it, they can come in and they can join us. And we can sit around the couch and we can watch these movies and we can play with these toys and we can enjoy this thing that we all love together. And everybody else can go to Dark Universe. So yeah, no, I don't think it needs to change. I don't think the monsters need to change. I don't think they need to reach new audiences by changing to become something different than the thing that we actually like. That's my answer. There you go. No, the monsters don't need to change. The monsters don't need to be reimagined. Doesn't matter to casuals, and fans like them for what they are now.